Can you believe it's our last day of special rights, even though it says day 2 notes up there? God, idiot. Okay, didn't mean to do. That should be 3. Stupid. Alright, we're going to get into some triple triangles. Well, actually, we're really just going to do one because I want to do it because it would be awesome to say we did a triple triangle. And we're going to talk about angles of elevation and depression. Not a big deal. It's just word problem lingo. You guys will be fine with it, but I want to make sure we hit on it because you will see that kind of stuff on ACT and SAT, at least that labeling technique. So, again, we're going to get some more practice with a couple of double triangle and a triple triangle, and then deal with a couple word problems. So this will be a shorter video. Number 1, cross from. Let's make sure we have this labeled 30. 60, 90. We know that this is a 90, which if this is a right angle, this is 60, which means this has to be 30. So across from, let's start here with our labeling. This is S. Across from 60 is S radical 3. Across from 90 is 2S. K. Across from 30 is K. Across from 60 is K radical 3. Across from 90 is 2K. So our information is right here for S. We actually could have started with K because it's in the middle there. It's kind of a different kind of problem. So let's go ahead and say S equals 10 radical 3. Woohoo, we're done. 2 times 10 radical 3 here. Up here we have 10 radical 3 times radical 3. Okay, so that's going to end up being 10 times the square root of 9. Or 10 times square root of 9 is 10 times 3, which is 30. So we're done with that one. We can go back and simplify y when we go back to do our answers. So K is going to actually be the same piece here, and K is going to be nice, because what's going to happen is K radical 3 equals 10 radical 3. Divide both sides by the square root of 3, and that is sweet. K equals 10. Plug it back in. This side would be just 10 because it's just K. This side is 2 times 10. Answers: W equals 10. X equals 20, 2 tens. Y equals, where's Y? 2 times 10 radical 3 is 20 radical 3. And Z is, we said, 30. Number 2, triple triangle. Not a big deal. We're going to use S, K, and let's use L. So, across from 45, let's label all these angles first. 45, across from, this is 30, this is 60. Across from 45 is S. Across from 45 is S. S radical 2. Across from, let's move on to and label this as K. Across from 30 is K. Across from 60 is K radical 3. Across from 90 is 2K. Across from 30 is S. Across from 60 is S radical. Dang it! You guys should have said something. Oh yeah, I can't hear you. Never mind. Forgot to change colors, or letters rather. Shoot, I don't have enough colors on here. Across from 30 is L. Across from 60 is L radical 3. Across from 90 is 2L. Alright, so here's the deal, and here's how we're going to handle this. We're going to start wherever our information is, which is right here. So that's a good one to start with, not too bad. S is 15, which means this is 15, this is 15 radical 2. Not bad. So our next setup is going to be right here. So we're going to have K radical 3 equals 15 radical 2. Not as nice of a setup. Who cares? We're pros at this. K equals 15 radical 6 over the square root of 9. I didn't do the shortcut there. I don't know why. 15 radical 6 over 3. K is 5 radical 6. Plug it back in. I'm going to zoom in. We're running out of space here. So what did I say it was? 5 radical 6. So that means this is 5 radical 6. Which means this is 2 times 5 radical 6, or 10 radical 6. Everything's getting a little bit tighter. Hold on. Here's our information. L radical 3 equals 10 radical 6. Divide both sides by the square root of 3. I like this though. L equals 6 divided by 3 is 2, so it'd be 10 radical 2 stays inside. There's our last letter. Plug it in. This side is 10 radical 2. This side is 2 of them, so we need 20 radical 2. So, let's go back. And what letter do we start with? T? Start with the T. So T is just 15. U is 15 radical 2. That's why I color code everything so I can find it. TUV is 5 radical 6. W is 10 radical 6. Y is 20 radical 2. Duh. X comes before Y. Idiot. X is 10 radical 2. Y is 20 radical 2. Whew. You guys should get a certificate or a cookie or something for doing a triple. So you won't see anything harder than that. But if you can keep pace with what I'm doing and you can keep track of where things are coming from, that's what the goal is. Make sure you can go from one triangle to the other. Enough of that. Let's look at a couple things and look at some word problems. Angle of elevation. We're going to pretend this is the ground. Okay. Angle of elevation is measured here. Okay, so this is our angle of elevation. Okay, so if I tell you in a word problem that we have an angle of elevation, that's where it is. Angle of depression is tricky. This right here is not the angle of depression. A common mistake. Because you can't measure an angle against a vertical surface like this. It's against a horizontal one. So the way we think of it is like this. Make a little horizontal line, and we always measure from the horizontal. So this right here is the angle of depression. Okay, because it measures from the top down, not in here. Again, this is not your angle of depression. It's right in between that horizontal line and the triangle. Nice thing about this, no matter what I tell you, if I tell you if it's an angle of elevation, you're going to put it in the bottom right corner. If I tell you if it's an angle of depression, say this is 30, this is also 30, and you're going to put it there, okay? Because they're alternate interior angles. So if I tell you elevation, you put it in the bottom right. If I tell you depression, you take that number and you put it in the bottom right. That's all you need to worry about, and I'll show you a couple of examples where you have that. Okay, so let's look at some examples with that included. Can't believe I did day 2. Day 3, idiot. A robin standing on the ground looks up at its nest in a tree with an angle of elevation of 60 degrees. If the robin is 21 feet from the base of the tree, approximately how far above the ground is the nest? Round your answer to the nearest tenth and express your answer in a complete sentence. I should be a kindergarten teacher. I read so well. Alright, so let's get a picture of this, because you guys all want to see my pictures. So robin's standing on the ground. Robins are blue. So, oh boy. There's our little robin. Okay. And he's looking up at the nest. I can do a nest for sure. Nest in the tree. Here's our tree. Oh yeah, now we're cooking. With an angle of elevation, so that goes here no matter what. Angle of elevation is 60 degrees. If the robin is 21 feet from the base of the tree, we know that's 90. So that's 21. Approximately how far above the ground is the nest? We want to know how far up we've got. We got one side, missing 2, can't use Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to set up a 30, 60, 90. This is 30. Across from 30 is S. Across from 60 is S radical 3. Across from 90 is 2S. There's my information. S is 21. So we go back and plug it in. That means that's 21 radical 3. Let's hope this stupid iPhone can do. Actually, it's not stupid. I didn't mean that iPhone. 21 radical 3. We're going to have to do... How do I do that, guys? So, we're going to take 21 radical 3. 21 times the square root. Shoot. Did it wrong. Square root of 3 times 21 equals about, so hopefully you guys are checking my math on that. That's going to come, because it says round to the nearest tenth, I told you could do it here. That comes out to be about 36 0.37, so we'll call it 36.4 to the tenths. There's no ones place. So we're going to say it is, or the nest is, to be proper, the nest is about 36.4 feet above the ground. Voila. Okay, there's one with an angle of elevation. Number 2. Josie is flying a kite on a 50-foot string. Okay, the string is 50 feet. Think about that. If Josie looks up at the kite with an angle of elevation of 45 degrees and her hand is 4 feet 6 inches above the ground, how far above the ground is the kite? So we've got a couple things going on. So we know we're going to deal with the triangle. Again, this is why triangles are so cool. So rad. So radical. Get it? Okay, so here's our kite. I'm really good at drawing recently. Here's Josie. Josie is the sky. Okay, so she's holding her little kite here. And her hand is 4 feet 6 inches above the ground. So this distance here is 4.5 feet, right? Because that's 4 feet 6 inches. 6 inches is half a foot. We know she's holding at an angle of elevation of 45. We know this is 90. How far above the ground? We want to know this. Not quite that much. We want to know to here. The ground actually goes right here, right? So we have to add on that 4.5 feet at the end. I cannot do this stupid bracket thing. Somebody please teach me. Okay, 50-foot string. That's over here. And we've got all of our information down. One side's known. We know it's a 45, 45, 90. So we're not using Pythagorean. Across from 45 is S. Across from 45 is S. Across from 90 is S radical 2. So S radical 2 is 50. Divide. And multiply. So S equals 50 radical 2 over 2, or 25 radical 2. Keep S as a radical. Don't do a decimal answer until the very, very end. Okay. So 25 radical 2 is going to be this. So now we can go ahead and put that in a decimal. So we're going to do the square root, or 25 radical 2 is this distance right here. So let's find out what that comes out to be approximately. And keep that number in your calculator. Don't get rid of it. So let's go ahead and do the square root of 2. God, stupid phone calculator. Square root of 2 times 25. So that's 35.3555339 blah blah blah. Keep that number on your calculator and just add on a plus 4.5, and you're going to get a total distance of, so this height here is going to be about 39 point, we'll go to the tenths, we'll call it. So it's 39.8553 and so on. So the kite is about, let's just round it to your nearest, no, we'll keep it tenths, 39.9 feet above the ground. Yeah, I guess we could have rounded it to 40, but we'll stick with tenths place. Okay, so we took that 25 radical 2, kept it on the calculator, and added up that 4.5, because that mattered, because our hand's up above the ground. You don't hold the kite like on the ground, laying on the ground or something like that. That'd be weird. Okay. The last one. Frankie decides to go for a hike. He looks up at the top of the mountain with an angle of elevation of 30 degrees. So we've got a little mountain here. So let's just do this. We know the angle of elevation is 30 degrees. If Frankie knows that the mountain is 5,280 feet tall, for those of you who don't know, that is 1 mile tall. That is huge. I was actually skiing on a couple miles tall mountains just a week ago. So this is 5,280 feet. How far is he from the base of the mountain? So we want to know this guy right here. And here's our mountain. So this is really where our mountain's at. So There's our sky cap, or whatever those things are called. There's our mountain. Okay. 90. This is 60 then. Across from 30 is S. Across from 60 is S radical 3. Across from 90 is 2S. I didn't ask you for an exact or a complete sentence this time, so just go ahead and let's do some work. Do people still say that? Is that still cool? 5,280 is our S, so we've got it done, got it covered, no worries there. And we want to see how far it is from the base, so we're going to plug that in. 5,280 times the square root of 3. Pull out our handy dandy calculator. We could also keep that as an exact answer if we want, but again, that doesn't mean much to people who aren't math experts like us. So let's go ahead and do the square root of 3 times 5,280, and we get about, oh my gosh, about 9,145. We'll go to the nearest foot. We don't need to go any further than that. It's 0.228, so on. So it's about that far away from the base of the mountain. I always want a unit. I always want you to tell me what we're talking about, so I know that you know what you're talking about. So again, we did a triple triangle, did some more word problems. You need to be able to draw them. They don't have to be great drawings. You guys know you're not ever going to get on my level with drawings, but you do need a drawing that will work for you. Okay? So make sure you have this done. Make sure you go back and do notes 1 and 2. If you didn't do those, make sure you get those made up because it's a short unit. I will see you guys tomorrow. Adios.